and welcome to another Drive-In Double Feature. I'm Ryan,
I'm Nathan.
and this is the podcast where we talk about two movies a week every Tuesday and Thursday. But before we get anything done, we have a Patreon over at patreon.com/Drive-In Double Feature Podcast. Nathan, I was over at my local hardware store where they don't use any credit cards. They just take cash. They don't give out any receipts
Mm-hmm.
or anything like that. They
Sounds
don't
right.
have any books at all. And I had said, "Oh, hey, look, that's a really interesting way to keep records." And like, yeah, but what I do make sure I keep track of is my subscription for Ryan and Nathan's Patreon page. It's got some fun conversations, some games, just a good time over there that I always make sure I have plenty of money in my bank account so that way it gets funneled into that Patreon.
Of
I said,
course.
"Oh, that's nice." And they said, "Yeah, well, I just want Nathan and Ryan. I hope they know how much we appreciate them." And I said, I think they know.
Yeah, I love that we were funded by hardware stores everywhere.
Yeah,
hmm
every hardware store.
Yeah, like
But yeah,
Lowe's, Home Depot. Sorry.
Lowe's. But yeah, it's only $5 a month. It doesn't affect any regular content whatsoever. But today we're talking about 1962's Jigsaw, and that is directed by Val Guest. Um, I was really interested in a murder mystery type movie. Um, and this one was on Tubi, and I was just like, "Oh, that's sounds interesting." And I Googled it and everything, and it had really good reviews. So I was just
Okay.
like, "All right, let's check it out."
I did want to
And
know why you picked this movie.
yeah, it looked interesting because on Tubi, and I was like, I was like, that could be something pretty interesting.
Mhm.
Um, what I didn't realize is that this movie was pretty much going to be like almost like a documentary or what, like not.
Yeah, very
I,
it's a cop movie when you like it's simple.
like I was surprised at how dry this movie is. Like, so this is a British movie. Like, this is fully British cast and British setting, all that. So it's basically like how British people back in the 60s or whatever would solve murders.
hmm
Um, like I don't think I could tell you one of these characters' names. It's just like because
No.
like I don't think we spent like any personal time together with any of these people at all. And it was always just like very by the books. Like I don't know what their likes and dislikes are. Like I said, I don't know anything about what their personalities are. It's just like they are cops. That's what they are there for.
It's interesting. It's just like watching a cop do their job, and it's not really dramatized at all because they run in the dead ends for most of this movie, like any cop would. They get a lead, they'll follow it. Oh, okay, that didn't go anywhere. We got to backtrack a little, and it's full of that. I kind of think that's interesting though, because I feel like you don't see that at all. Like something just so dry, just hey, these are cops, we're doing their job.
No, and I don't think you'll ever see one like that again. And
No.
I so I really didn't know like what direction this movie was going to go in because it kind of starts out where it's like this couple in this um like a seaside like cabin or whatever where she's very much in love with this guy and you don't see who this guy is and next thing you know like she's being attacked by him because
Mhm.
eventually this guy finds out that she's pregnant
Yes, yeah.
and,
And there's some
and
big clues in the beginning because she's like, "Oh, I'm pregnant. You can leave her for me." So like there's like small clues, right? Like because honestly this movie had me going through clues. It had me taking stock. I usually don't do a lot of that. But like I was like, okay, well when they find him, he's not going to be married. He can't have or he has to be married. He can't be alone. Small stuff like that. So it's all set up here.
yeah, definitely. And how it starts is just like besides this woman being dead, which they don't even know a woman's dead when because the police are
Sure.
called, and it's for this robbery where this man's leases were stolen,
Mhm.
And that guy and that shop owner is just like he's like very adamant. It's like, you should be dusting for fingerprints right now. Like dust for them. And
Yes,
they're just
yeah.
like, well, we need to figure out like what's going on first before we just start like dusting. It's
Mhm.
like, what do you mean? Like, just start.
Yeah, and it's so funny because you know, it's so obvious that they stole leases and that's it. They didn't steal anything else. Like, it's not like it's so obvious that it's like a very, particular burglary, and of course that guy doesn't think so. Um
No. And like so much so like the I mean, they show you like every detail of this movie. Like the guy is like upset with the inspector, the detective that's there.
Uh-huh.
So it's like, I'm going to call your superiors. And it shows him on the phone calling the superiors, being like, basically being like, I need a new detective over here. And then they
Mhm,
call this like an older guy to come
mhm.
in and kind of assist. And they're like, okay, well, why don't you take us to the property where this lease was? So they go to that seaside cabin, and basically, like, he has no idea because he rented this house or like or whatever to this person like sight unseen.
Mhm.
And during this time, they're like looking around, seeing if they can find any clues, and they end up finding this old chest. And once they open it, they find a girl that's the girl from the beginning of the movie. Her whole body's just been dismembered.
Yeah, exactly. It's like missing body parts. Like, right? Like, there's like, because I think like, oh, we got to find certain parts to know how she died. All they have is a body. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
And you don't
Yeah,
see any of this, by the way, because it's
no.
British movie during the 60s.
Yeah, they're not going to show a chopped up body in a suitcase. Just the thought of it's already dark enough. Um, but yeah, I guess yeah, that's what sets up like because now it's a murder mystery. Now we got to find out who did it, and I
We got to
maybe
find out everything. We got to find out everything. We got to find out who
yeah.
the killer was and who this girl is too.
Exactly. And it's definitely focused on the details of finding those things. And I feel like another movie would have maybe focused a little more on this relationship between a young detective and an old detective. Because there's a little bit of that, because the younger one's talking about forensic science and we can send this over to get tested. And the old man's like, well, you know, it's good to do that, but it's gonna make cops lazy. There's small stuff like that. But I feel like I would have liked that dynamic to be explored a little bit more.
I would have liked that too. Like maybe had like the old cop, like who's just basically just like,
Mhm,
I got to get stuff done now type of thing. Like the only way to do it is good police work. And the other one's like, well, we don't need it if we have the technology and it'll tell us exactly what all this stuff means.
mhm.
So I I would have liked, I mean, there is a plot to the movie. I don't make that clear,
Obviously, yes, yeah.
but I would have liked a little more story element to it where it's like
Yeah.
that's like I would really like to have these characters to be a personality instead of them being kind of like these just pretty blank canvases.
Yeah,
It's just like
yeah, exactly. They are
it's like
literally just,
mm,
like, bland.
it's like their whole personality is that they are cops.
Exactly, exploring every little thing, which I mean, I guess it gets you into the mystery of it because I mean, you don't find out who this girl is for the longest time because that becomes the main plot point is finding out who this girl is because that will lead her to the killer. I mean, they have clues like the guy's name is John Campbell and like small stuff like that, like she had been living there for a while. And a grocery store clerk saw him. He was like, "I have a photographic memory," you know, but it's in black and white. And there's no color. I think he's like, "Oh, but there's no color on account of my
Yeah.
color blindness."
Right. He was like, because he asked, it's like, oh, I can know that man anywhere. And he's like, okay, well, what was the car look like? Oh, I couldn't help you there. Like my photographic memory is only good for color or for black. It's all in black and white.
Yeah.
And I like to how eager that guy was that he
Yes.
wanted to like testify so bad. He's like
Yeah.
like he's like he's like put me in there, give me a stack of Bibles. I'll swear on it. I'll give you all the details.
Yeah, and I was hoping that he would be like completely wrong, like you know the photographic memory bit was a lie, but no, I mean like It makes sense because later on in the movie, he picks someone from a stand-up who the movie is trying to convince you is the bad guy. Um,
Yeah.
and he points him out, but that's just because he's the one who was at the house at that time. Because this girl, I forget how they phrase it in the movie, but the girl who was killed does she gets around, she sleeps around,
Yeah.
yeah. Which way,
And
her dad is like so against that at one point.
oh well, yeah. Like, didn't he say like they go over to like once they find out who the girl is, they go over and to inform the dad, and basically like she deserved it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think he's like, she deserves whatever what came to her. And then
Oh,
they're
that's
like,
right. And then he's
yeah.
like, she's dead, and it's like,
He starts crying. And can you believe that a man crying?
I don't know what to
Oh
say. Like, yeah,
God.
what a bitch.
Yeah, right. Come on. And the wife was just taken. She was fine. She can handle it. Um, but yeah, so I mean, but that's way later because the bulk of this movie is that mystery and like going through everything. Like, there's like a part where he's like, "I'm going to go to the phone book and I'm going to call every JS because the suitcase said JS," and then it's a montage of him calling people with those initials, and it doesn't really go anywhere. It's
No,
odd. It's so odd. It's admirable in a way. I don't know. I think there's something I admire about that.
I mean, it's almost like they went for like, I want to make an extremely accurate police movie. Like, I don't
Mhm.
care about story. Like, I want to
Mhm.
know, I want it to be just like how it would be like if cops were doing it. And it,
Yeah.
like you said, and they'll have like, they'll start following a lead and it won't lead anywhere. Like they find like this girl who they think is the girl that's dead because she has the same name,
Mhm.
and turned out like, and it's like, oh no, it's like she's not anybody. And she was just like a girl that almost slept with the killer.
Exactly, yeah. Which is a really sad part of that movie because that it's like that girl. I think she's just like, I don't look good, so I don't get men. So like when I found this man, I was just so happy. And then he invites her back home, and she says no, and then it kind of like fizzles out after that.
We should have just said yes.
Yeah, right. Just live, girl. She was just live. Let this murdering man, this evil man, that killed this lady. Which I guess the movie also sets it up that it might not be that guy because there's a guy that pops up that a vacuum cleaner,
He's
vacuum cleaner salesman, not a
he's a
vacuum cleaner.
vacuum
Yeah,
he's a vacuum
it's
cleaner.
yeah, it's like the brave little toaster.
Yeah.
That guy.
It's
But
Tony the
he
Tiger.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But he also sleeps around. He'll like he talks about it to the cops. Like, yeah, I know when a lady's willing. Let me say that. I think he even says like, oh, I didn't make the sale, but I made the sale. He says something like that to the effect. Yeah, I slept with her. And the court. I love the old cop because I think he said I think it's like, oh, men like that are despicable.
I should have said nice.
Yeah, you should be like, wow, awesome. Yeah, when the one woman slept around the girl who's murdered, he's like, ah, gross. She deserved it. But when he slept with all the women, he's like, oh, nice, nice, man. You're a bachelor. Hmm.
That would have been that would have been like in a parody movie or
It,
something.
it would have been, yeah.
But like Tuesday's movie, this is a very, very dry movie.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
like desert dry movie. And
Like to the
it's not
point, like I feel like it'd be hard to go over every plot beat and detail in this movie, right? Because it is just like dry
there.
details.
If you notice, there is no musical score in this movie at all. There's
Yeah.
no songs or anything because the only time you hear music, it's just like incidental music where it's just like if they walk in somewhere that's playing
Hmm.
music or what. At no point is there a score or anything. It's just like even when the movie starts, it's just like Jigsaw, and then even when it ends, it's like credits, it's over type of thing.
Yeah, there
And
is no style. It is not stylish like a noir movie or any. The beginning
no,
has heavy shadows when after they have sex, but after that, it is clean cut, the most basic movie you could make.
yeah, and even like the killer in it, it's like, it's spoilers. It's just it's just some guy, like the guy
Yeah.
that we've never seen before.
Yeah, because the movie really wants you to think it's the vacuum cleaner salesman because he was there and he lied. But I knew instantly that it wasn't him. Like I just knew because one like we had 30 minutes left and all of that. I was just like, okay, this is a false lead. I know it already. And then yeah, it ends up just being some guy who had a mistress.
Yeah, it's just a guy. They're like this guy shows up, and immediately right away the spinster woman or whatever is like Johnny. That's and just
And then they book
like
him.
they book him, and how the movie ends is such a not flat, but just not a big deal type of thing.
It's
Like
so
like
weird.
so they are interrogating this guy for hours, and so much so the guy's like, I bought this thing on Monday. Like I couldn't have killed her if I bought it on Monday, type of
Hmm.
thing. And so they're just like, oh, like bro, this guy's getting he's a real tough nut to crack type of thing.
Hmm.
And they like go out and take a break. And then they're just out walking the fresh air. And they're just like, oh yeah, like I forget what they said, but it was like, wait a minute, Monday was a holiday. And
Hmm.
then they just turn like they don't run back or anything. They just like turn around like normal, like, oh, I guess we're not gonna have that
Yeah.
beer now or whatever. And then
Yeah,
it's just
exactly. Yeah. The biggest mistake you made is we're not going to have that beer. And they walk back and it's over. No,
it's
no.
over.
Yeah, they don't even go in and confront him, be like, hey, you were wrong. No, I mean, it's just like, okay, they solved the crime. There's two things about that. There's two things. First, they act like it's a standardized thing. And it must have been that the Monday after Easter, all stores are closed. Was that a thing? Because they were like, oh, it's Monday after Easter, so all stores were closed. Really? You can make that case?
I
Maybe
guess.
Easter. I don't know. Also, I'm pretty sure they got the dates wrong because I remember early in the movie, the woman across the street gives an account, and I remember thinking this because I was comparing because Easter just happened and our Easter was on 420, and they're good. She was like, "Oh, he was there."
Hey,
Yeah, but she was like, "Oh, it was on the 19th, Good Friday." Okay. And then Easter or the Monday after Easter was the 23rd, right? So Friday is the 19th, Saturday the 20th, Sunday the 21st, Monday the 22nd. So they got their date wrong. They messed that up by
uh,
one day. I don't know how they did that. And I don't know why I caught that. That is such a like nitpicky cinema sin thing.
ding.
But the reason I remember is because you said 19th was the Good Friday, and I was like, oh yeah, Easter just happened on the 20th. And I saw that and I was like, wait, hold on. You guys messed up.
Well, according to IMDb, there was no legal obligation for shops to close on Easter Monday or other bank holidays, and many shops in a resort town like Brighton would have remained open in order to take advantage of the large number of holiday makers flocking to the town.
See, it just seems odd. I don't know. That seemed like such an odd detail, like just to end the plot.
Well, Nathan, why if you just realize this, why is it not on the IMDb goof section of this movie?
I don't know. I might have to add it. I might be my first addition to IMDb. And also, I'll add Nathan and Ryan covered this on Drive and Double Feature podcasts.
In the trivia section, please.
Yeah, no, in the goof section because we're so goofy.
Oh, oh, that's true.
Yeah, yeah, and maybe it'll be less of a chance to get caught. I'll go back and make sure the dates are wrong, and I will add it to the goof section. I want to make
I
sure
hope you do.
I'm gonna make sure that I was right. That she didn't say something. Oh, the day before Good Friday or something like that.
I hope you do.
Okay, thank
Um,
you.
uh, yeah, so I mean that's pretty much like the movie. Like and like I said, it's very like a very subdued movie, very, very dry movie.
Hmm.
Um, it's not a bad movie. It's not very exciting either, though.
Hmm.
And it's not really like I didn't think it was a bad movie, but it'd be very much just like if you're really into procedurals, you might like it, but it it's a lot sometimes. It's like it's just there's just not a lot going on.
Yeah, it's odd. It's like it's not that I wouldn't recommend it. Not like when I say not recommend, I think of like usually like a bad movie. I'm gonna say a light not recommend, mainly because I don't think there's enough going on to be like, oh, you have to see this one. Watch a bunch of other crime movies. But it's not necessarily a bad movie. I think I'd
It's
give it
not
like a 3 out of 5. I think it was a fine movie. It just doesn't really have anything that I think I'll remember later down the line.
I would agree. I mean, I feel like this would be a very for a very niche crowd.
Yeah,
Because if
exactly.
like if you like kind of like me, where it was like, oh my god, like a whodunit murder mystery, like
Hmm.
sign me up, and then it's like you're watching like a really boring episode of like Law and Order or something, like in England or something.
Yeah, yeah, Law and Order Brighton or something. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that is what it's like, but like a boring episode of Law and Order, like the most basic episode you could watch.
yeah. I mean, at least I know who those people are in that movie
That's true,
and
yeah.
in the show.
The
I mean,
show. But yeah, it was something. I mean, I'm glad you picked it. A very
yeah,
interesting flick.
it's something different from what we normally cover,
Yeah.
but I think that's gonna do it for this one. Um, Nathan, what are we gonna talk about next time?
Well, Ryan, on Tuesday, we're going to be talking about The Man Who Knew Too Much. But
Oh, we gotta do it again?
yeah,
No,
I just liked it.
Nathan,
I
we gotta
liked
do
it
it
so
again.
much that I wanted to watch it again.
Okay,
No,
fine. We're doing Jigsaw 2 again.
oh God. But you're doing Jigsaw, the Saw movie.
No, we're doing the same movie.
Oh God. No, well, we're talking about the 1956 remake from Alfred Hitchcock of The Man Who Knew Too Much. But Ryan, what are we covering on Thursday?
Well, Nathan, this is a movie I've been wanting to see for a very long time because I've seen the memes from it,
Yeah.
but it's The Vampire's Kiss starring Nicolas Cage, and that is free on Tubi right now.
Oh, and I should add, my movie is not streaming anywhere. So you're gonna have to rent that sucker or buy it on a VHS at Goodwill.
Good. I'll give you my copy.
Thank you.
But anyway, if you have any thoughts and opinions, please email us over at drivein-double-feature-podcast@gmail.com.
Mhm.
Don't forget to check out our YouTube channel at Drive-In Double Feature Podcast and check out the Patreon at patreon.com/Drive-In Double Feature Podcast. But until next time.
Until next time.